everything must change. I always say, change is the only constant. We've been thinking a little bit about how we can optimize this platform that we have to do what we always have wanted to do most, which is tell great stories about the transformative power of running. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Set the Pace, the official podcast of New York Roadrunners presented by Peloton. I'm your host, the CEO of New York Roadrunners, Rob Similcare, and with me, the birthday girl and Peloton instructor, Becs Gentry, who had a milestone birthday this past weekend. Happy birthday, Becs.
Thank you.
Can we share the milestone?
Of course. It was a
Becs
big
joined
4-0.
the Big 4-0 Club. That's right. It's hard to believe, looking at you, that you're anything above 29 years old, but the birth certificate says what it says. So happy birthday.
1986, baby. Thank you so much. It was a truly wonderful celebration. I feel like I didn't stop celebrating from Thursday night, where a bunch of my friends, I love going to the Other Ship, which is in Williamsburg. It's a contrast therapy place. It's amazing. And Austin and I go quite often on a Thursday before we pick up Tallulah from school. And we went, and we're really good friends with a lot of our neighbors. They all showed up. Quite a few Peloton instructors were there and other friends. And it was amazing. Just to be surprised by my friends in a boiling hot sauna was brilliant. And then Austin whisked me away for the weekend to the Cayman Islands for a surprise. Which was
that's amazing.
Unreal. Yeah.
That's fantastic. What a great way. I always like to ask people this when they get to milestone birthdays, which is this. How does your life at 40 compare to what you thought it would be at 40 when you were, say, 20?
I thought I'd be so old. I thought I'd be so old, so serious. I thought I'd have everything figured out.
You're none of those things.
None of those things. I thought I'd have literally the cookie cutter idea of what a grown-up is. I thought that would be me. Have a house with a driveway, which I do have, but I don't live in it all the time.
Even better.
And yeah, I definitely don't feel like I've got really anything sorted out. I still feel like I'm flying by the seat of my pants for most of life. But it's not going wrong. So maybe I do know what I'm doing a bit more than I give myself credit for.
A little more credit, maybe. Exactly. You've done a couple things. All right. I mean,
couple of cool things.
You're doing pretty well. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I definitely don't feel old, too old. There was a lot more of sensible celebrations instead of staying out partying all night. It was oh yeah, but we do want to get up and use the gym in the morning before we go to the beach. That sort of life when you realize, oh yeah, I am on a different level now, but it's fantastic. And everybody who is in 40s or gone through their 40s has said it is by far the most fun decade. So
the 40s are amazing. I miss them. I'm on the other side of them, but it's a great time. There's a lot going on though. You've got young kids.
Yeah.
You've got one. There's a lot happening in your 40s especially if you have kids. And a lot of folks in their 40s, and then definitely by the time you get to your, say, early 50s, you're in that sandwich generation. You've had some of that. Your parents who are going through life transitions, perhaps, or whatever's going on one hand, and then kids that you're dealing with on the other, right? So there can be a lot of stress in this part of life, but it's also when I think we're at our best. We've got that combination of stuff we've learned, but still young enough to do a lot with it. I think that's what's great about this kind of period of middle-agedom or whatever we call it. But, a question for you that's running related. How do you think running has impacted where you are? You say you don't feel too old because you're not.
No.
Do you think running has played a big role in your youthfulness at this tender age of 40?
I think fitness in general, keeping yourself moving, keeping yourself healthy and active is a huge key to not feeling like you're aging at the speed of light. And when you're active, you're keeping your brain active too. You're more likely to be social if you're out exercising and meeting people and going to events. And they're all, proven things that keep you youthful. And so, yeah, for running, for sure, that's keeping me active and feeling good. I'm excited that I'm in a whole new running category. I'm now in the masters category of life, which is sounds really cool. Sounds really cool. But I will say, probably one of the most competitive that I've been in, because for women especially, the masters category is full of kick ass strong women. So I don't know how it's going to affect my competitiveness. It might edge it up a little bit, but we'll see, because I've got a race in like 3 weeks. So
I love it. I expect you to dominate the masters races that you're in. So, no pressure, but I'm sure
no
you'll
pressure.
do really, really
Mm-hmm.
well at that. So,
Yeah.
well,
Well, I'm
happy
kicking it off
birthday.
soon. Thank
That's right.
you.
That's right. Make it happen. Can't wait
Yep.
to see it. My weekend was chill. One of my daughters was in a musical, so I was watching lots of Newsies, which was fun. And I'm starting
Oh,
to edge my way back toward running a little bit, Bex. It's been such
good.
a long layoff for me, as
Yeah.
folks know, since Chicago, when I started to really develop some knee issues. But it's
Mhm.
getting better slowly. A lot of PT, the
Yeah,
time
a
off,
little
so I'm edging
diligent
my way
work.
back. I think I'll make an appearance at a race in April, most likely. Not to race, but at least to run. I love the 4 milers in Central Park. I love that course we have, starting
Yes.
over on the east side and finishing on the 72nd Street transverse. The run is always like one of my absolute favorites. It's been my best pace for years, and so I'd love to go out and at least run that. Luckily, the best pace is good for another year or so, because I'm not going to be running a best pace anytime soon. But I'll keep my corral assignment for at least a while as I continue to rehab on the knee front. But looking forward to some warm weather, which we're getting right now. It's been beautiful, and I'm sure that's firing a lot of people up to get back out and run this
It sure
spring. So
is.
can't wait to see folks out there as we begin the spring season very, very soon.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So good.
Yeah, it is so good. I feel like a new person. So Bex,
Yeah.
we are having an episode that's a little bit different today.
It is.
You and
Yeah.
I are going to chat throughout the episode. No big guest today, although we do have somebody coming on at the end, a little surprise. But
Mhm.
we're going to talk a little bit about the podcast, about Set the
We
Pace,
are.
and kind of where we're going with the podcast. We've been
Mhm.
at this now for a shockingly long time. First me and Meb, and now the two of us. We've
Yeah.
passed 150 episodes, I believe, where we'll be
Oh my
coming up
gosh, yeah.
on 3 years, I believe, this summer. So
How?
we've
How
been
did that
doing this for
happen?
a while, and it's been an awesome experience. It's really helped us create even more community for folks here. And I love how many people come up to me at the finish line talking about how much they love the podcast, that listen every
Yeah.
week. So we
And a lot of
appreciate
them
that,
listen to it whilst they're actually running the races, which is
which
really,
was
really fun.
yeah, and that was the original idea, is to give folks something to engage with while they run, especially while they train for long races. So it's
Yep.
worked according to plan in so many ways, but everything must change. That's I always say,
Yeah.
change is the only constant in life, right?
Yep.
And so we're
It
always
keeps us on
looking
our
for
toes.
ways. Yeah, we're always looking for ways to change things up and figure out how to make everything better. And so we're going to start thinking a little bit. We've been thinking a little bit about how we can optimize this platform that we have to do what we always have wanted to do most, which is tell great stories about the transformative power of running. And that's our mission statement. We redid our mission statement a couple of years ago, and we focus on creating healthier lives and stronger communities through the transformative power of running. And so we keep coming back to that, and we want to make sure that we're telling those stories with the kind of depth, detail that they deserve. We know that people are really affected by some of those stories. Speaking of which, by the way, we didn't talk in the preamble about one story related thing, which was Final Finishers, our first documentary ever at New York Runners, getting an Emmy nomination. So that was exciting news. We got a sports Emmy, a
Unreal.
national sports Emmy nomination for Final
Mhm.
Finishers. Congratulations to the whole team that worked on that film, East 89th Street Productions, and everybody, that was an incredible day for us here last week when that nomination came through.
It
I'm
was so
sorry, I
good.
digress. But
No, because people should be watching it as well. That's just another reminder to all of our listeners. If you didn't get to watching it when it was released the first time round and you don't know what Rob's talking about, believe us when we say it is something you need to watch because it will inspire you, especially if you are about to kick off your spring training into maybe a late summer or fall marathon. This is gonna help you go.
yes, thank you so much. Go find it. It is streaming on Disney Plus, on
Yeah.
ESPN Plus, on Hulu. It's only about a 25-minute watch, so it's a great way to get fired up for your next race. Thank you for that, Bax. Final finishers. All right, back to what we're talking about with the podcast. So we want to do more of that kind of depth of storytelling. You know, we
Yeah.
want to go deeper with people who we know have had their lives changed by running, and talk more with more, more depth with some of those folks. So what we're going to change up is a few things. First of all, the frequency of the podcast will change. We're not going to go every single week, week in and week out anymore. It's going to be more like 3 to maybe 4 episodes a month, which isn't much different than weekly, but it gives us a little extra breathing room to go
Yeah.
deep on some of the subjects that we talk to here. You know, it takes a lot of
Mhm.
work to research, to book, to really go in depth on some of these interviews. And, you have a full-time job. I have this full-time job they pay me to do at New York Roadrunners called Run the Place. So, and we've got a production team that needs that time as well. So we're going to go a little bit less frequency, but a little bit deeper in every episode that we do. And this is a reminder to folks, if you don't already, make sure you are subscribing to the podcast. That way, whenever we do drop an episode, you're going to get it. It's going to be right there on your podcast homepage, so you don't miss it. You don't have to go looking for it. It'll be there for you. So that's one thing that we're going to change up, Bex. And I'm looking forward to doing that because I love it when we're able to really have real deep conversations
I
with
agree.
people whose lives have been changed by running.
Yeah, and also it's a little bit, and I always like to talk about this at Peloton. Is you and I are the people that people and they may see or think of first when they think of the podcast, but we are just part of a huge team that the listeners don't see, and behind the scenes of the team that makes this happen. Rob and I do the talking, but behind the scenes, the people who are not facing you are how this comes about. And for our team to find really, really great guests as well, it does take time because a lot of these other people, there's a lot of conversations to be had with people's teams, with people's schedules. And so it gives the rest of the team that work on the episodes the breathing space to really find guests that are going to resonate with our listeners. And I think as we are part of a team, it's nice to just explain that we all are working on it to make the best for everybody. So it gives our producers and everybody else good breathing time too. So when we deliver everything to you as a team, it is the absolute best we can give you.
100%. Yeah. So the kinds of stories that you'll see, or the kinds of episodes that you'll see going forward, definitely some deep story interviews with subjects
Mm-hmm.
that we think are have amazing stories that we want to tell. We'll also have more multi-episode series about maybe one topic, right? So we might spend a few episodes talking about a specific topic. It could be how to stay
Mm.
healthy or the mental health aspect of running or different topics that we know folks care about. So you'll see us maybe spend 2 or 3 episodes talking about that. One of the types of episodes that we know people love, and you'll continue to see these, are the kind of behind the scenes episodes about our races and our events. So Bex, when we do the town halls, for instance, where we talk about what's happening at New York Roadrunners and changes that we're making, we'll definitely continue to do those.
Yeah.
We'll continue to bring on Ted to preview big races and
We
things like
must.
that because we know people love that stuff, and we want to make
Yeah.
sure folks in our community understand the inner workings of New York Roadrunners. If you're a member, if you're spending a lot of your time and frankly your money with us, we want to make sure you understand the way things really work here. So we'll be doing
Yeah.
more of those. So that's some of the stuff that I think we'll be doing more of going forward.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we are very excited to bring all of the new ideas to everybody. I think I'm going to ask Rob a question. Here we go. We'll go straight in with the grilling, not the town hall, but the grilling from
Yeah.
Bex. Um, when it comes to these changes, Rob, why do we like change? Why is change going to bring about to us, to our listeners? Like, what is it about us as runners that is going to give us that the change for growth, let's say?
Yeah, I think that it's always good to change things up a little bit because it gives you a chance to kind of experience whatever the thing is differently. And I kind of
Yeah.
joke around when I'm running. You know, you typically have your typical running route, and maybe you always take the same direction. And then every once in a while, you kind of switch the direction of that route. You know, could be Central Park, it could be anywhere you typically
Uh-huh.
run. You change the direction. I don't know about you, but when I do that, it's like a totally different run for me. Like, I
Yeah.
see things I never saw before.
Agreed.
I
Mhm.
notice features that I never noticed on the run, you know, and that to me is kind of an example of, like, the value of changing things, right? Is you do get a sense of things that are just different, right? So I think it'll be good for folks to, you know, and good for us, right, to challenge ourselves to tell stories a little bit differently. You know, one of the things I was going to say, Bex, is what would really also help is we'd love to hear more from the listeners themselves about ideas they have, stories they think we should tell. And that's one thing. If you're listening to this podcast, you have the opportunity to give us that feedback. And you can leave comments in the notes on the whatever podcast app you listen to.
Mhm.
Apple iTunes is the best one for reviews. You can put in there, hey, would love you guys to do a story about this or about
Yeah.
this person, or you know, I really could use help in my running if you would talk about, you know, this aspect of running. So I think
Mhm.
there's a lot of feedback potential for listeners out there. And I
Yeah.
encourage all of them to, obviously, we always say at the end of the show, subscribe, rate, blah, blah, blah. But go in those comments and share with us what would be helpful to you, because
Exactly.
that's better than anything we can come up with, is if we hear directly from the listeners of what
Yeah.
they'd like to hear about.
I agree. I agree. And taking it back to what you said, Rob, like the mission, the transformative power of running, which is what, as Rob said, New York Roadrunners changed their mission to state that. And from my perspective as a Peloton instructor, that is what we do on a daily basis. We try and bring transformation to people's lives in whatever way they want to take it. And running for so many people changes their lives. And it brings about a whole new realization of the person that you wanted to be as the person you can be. And it gives people space and time to not do that overnight. Running is a process, but it kind of gives you that unlock to find out about this different side of you and transform into that person. So tell us your stories. Tell us how running has helped your lives change, and how maybe it's not your life so much. Maybe there's somebody you run with who would never put themselves forward for something like this, but you know that their story would be really, really, really inspiring to a lot of people out there. Yeah, we want to know about it, because these communities um, that are out there in the running world, there's so many of them, and between Rob and I, we are involved in a lot of them. New York Roadrunners and Peloton being two very big ones, and from those we're both individually involved in others as well. But that is just a teeny tiny slice of the pie of this global community. And I'd love to know about, it doesn't just have to be people in the USA. If you know people in any other country in the world who you think would be interesting for us to talk to and hear their stories, tell us. And bring them to New York. If they're in New York, tell us, because we would love to meet people and bring you some more live shows where as and where we can. Um, but it's definitely going to be a bit more focused on the joys of running and keeping it in the running world. I think
Yeah.
that's one nice change here.
100%, absolutely. So that's the latest on what's going on
Yeah.
with Set the Pace. And we're gonna have, by the way, I mentioned obviously my first co-host on the show, Meb Keflezighi. He's gonna join us in just a minute to have a little catch up to see what's going on with Meb. Always love to connect with our old friends. So Meb's gonna join us in just a second. One thing I wanted to talk about before we go to a break back, so you don't know about this, but so we're going to be dropping this podcast on April the 2nd. And by then, folks will have already probably seen and then realized that we played a little April Fool's joke on folks. So this is something that I wouldn't talk about if this wasn't on a 2-day delay. But we had the fun idea to have a little April Fool's fun with our membership, and everybody in our world. I've wanted to do this for a couple of years. And so late on the 31st of March into the early morning of April 1st, we put out a press release that said that to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the 5 borough New York City Marathon, we decided to bring it back to the OG course of the marathon and have everyone just run laps of Central Park. And so we put out a press release.
I can't wait to
There's
see how many
quotes
people
from
drop
me.
out.
All of that is going out on the 31st, going into the 1st
Oh my
as an
gosh.
April Fool's joke.
I hope
And we
nobody
are
drops out.
and then well, yeah, hopefully we don't get a lot of dropouts. And then we will quickly follow up with a just kidding. This is
Just
just a
kidding.
joke for April
Hopefully
Fool's Day.
people will see through it immediately, but that is a very good one. Bravo.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna have a little fun with folks. So that's gonna be a good time. My original plan for an April Fool's joke was a little bit different than that, but this will be a fun one. And yeah, we love April Fools,
Oh
so
my
it's
gosh.
just
You'll
something we can
know if
enjoy.
it has been a success if like Runner's World or Citius Mag or Tempo come to you and they're like, "Can we cover this?" You're like,
Yeah,
"Guys, look
people
at the
aren't we haven't
date."
really done that at Roadrunners before, so people probably aren't
Yeah.
used to us playing jokes like that. So I'm as I sit here on Tuesday, I'm really curious to see how it's gonna go, but it should be a good
I
time.
can't wait. I feel like I wanna just repost it to make it feel really
Oh, please
genuine
do.
too.
Please do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So now
So,
you all know that I
anyway,
was in on it.
April Fools, exactly.
Hey.
Hopefully everybody had fun with that on the 1st of April, but, don't
Oh my
worry, we're
gosh.
still sending you out to Staten Island on the 1st Sunday in
It's gonna be
November.
outrage.
All right, we'll take
Oh.
a break, and we'll talk to Meb on the other side.
Peloton is taking running and race tech to the next level with the new Peloton Cross Training Series Tread Plus powered by Peloton IQ. Built for runners who want top tier performance, the Tread Plus helps you train smarter and get race ready with precision. Peloton IQ offers personalized insights that evolve as you progress, so you can fine tune your pacing and peak at the right moment. And with strength workouts designed to build the muscle you need to support every mile, your training goes beyond the run. Plus, pace target classes designed to build consistency, boost speed, and improve your splits. Every single run supports your full training cycle, from recovery miles to challenging race pace intervals. Experience our most advanced tread yet at onepeloton.com. Peloton, the official digital fitness partner of New York Roadrunners.
Well, it is a pleasure to bring back my original partner in crime and co-host of Set the Pace, Meb Keflezighi, back for a little check-in. Meb, it's great to see you. How you been?
I'm doing well, Rob. Good to see you again.
You too, you too. So, what's happening in the life of Meb Keflezighi? It's a we see you at Roadrunners, luckily, fairly often, which is great. We love it when you're up at the marathon, or see you in Boston or whatever. It's I always joke around. It's always like walking around with Paul McCartney when you walk around with
Yeah,
Meb
yep.
Keflezighi at a marathon. People all want to
Agreed.
stop and talk to Meb. But what's new and exciting?
Rob's always good to see you and always visit with you, whether it's in New York City or whatever other major marathons when we come across our path to be able to see. Sometimes I see your daughters, and things like that. It's been fun. But for me, it's been good. Just been busy coaching at the high school level and doing appearances at road races like, San Antonio, Oklahoma, and Gasparilla locally here in Tampa, Florida, where I reside. So I love being part of the community of running, and it's been just awesome to be able to just spend some time with them, give them high five or word of encouragement. So it's been great.
Love that. Meb, how is the Meb Foundation charity going?
Oh, the Meb Foundation is doing great. It's part of the New York Runners, Boston, Chicago, and then now Sydney, Australia, as part
Woohoo!
of the World Major Marathons. To be able to find runners, and we want to be able to get fit, but also do a lot of more commitment to put in the mileage, staying healthy, do fundraising. So we do weekly calls on Wednesdays with my team, and be able to just kind of roadmap of what the Meb Foundation is doing and where it's heading. We Pretty soon we'll have also Run with Meb, which is in Tampa, Florida, and at the Alopez Park. So we'll have some 5K, 10K, and a little fun mile run for the kids as well. So that's on May
Oh,
2nd. So working toward that as well.
That sounds amazing. Have you had a lot of runners this year, either who've run where are we at? We've had Tokyo. You had a lot of runners run Tokyo, right?
So yes, besides working at the Meb Foundation, I do coaching on the side, I guess, with Ron Dot and be able to give back to people who want to drive so hard to be able to just get the best out of themselves. It doesn't matter how fast, how slow, you just get from point A to point B. Each has individual goals. So I had 5 runners run at the Tokyo Marathon with Rob. Also, going for 250, who is very well, lives with the Bronx Runners
Yeah.
Rob
runners,
Dalto,
and
yeah, which was
yeah,
incredible, his run, absolutely.
amazing, and then, he was a little shy of his goal because he had his heart condition act
Mhm.
up at early on. But, I had Rita who also tried to run for, 4 hours and 20 minutes, ran for 15. And then also
Wow.
had Gary running for 5:20s, all levels, and then Heather
Whoa.
6:20, and then Christy also has the 6:27. So for me, is to help them be the best version of themselves. Sometimes they want to break 6 hours, 5 hours, but they have to do the grind, but they have to put the mileage and go out there and travel, experience what marathon and the community has to offer. And I wish I was there with them in Tokyo, but which is one of the big bucket lists. I haven't done it yet, so I have
Oh.
just to cheer from far away.
Oh, that's awesome. Congrats to all of your runners.
What a treat it must be to have Meb Keflezighi as your coach. That's incredible. What's it been like for you, Meb, to have that experience of coaching? Well, obviously, you were coached for so many years, and
Mm.
made such a big difference for you. What's it like being on the other side?
It's good to be on the other side, Rob. First time I ever coached was Jeff Stoic when I was in high school. He was a football player and he wanted to run track. He wanted to run the 800. I ended 800 meters. I coached him to 2:02. So that was the first time. And then in 2000, I came back early from Sydney, Australia at the Olympic Games to coach at San Diego City College for cross country. And then I have to battle whether I want to be the athlete or try to coach on the side. But I try to focus on myself, try to accomplish what I want to come. And now, finally decided about a year and a half, 2 years ago with Rhonda to join force to be able to help others accomplish their goals. So it is amazing, to be able to
Yeah.
coach this last fall, my daughter Fiora, who runs across country, to be able to be interact with them. Sometimes the parents give you the freedom to coach them, but you spend a lot of times on the van driving to Tallahassee and things like that. They're taking a nap or the other stuff they do. You see them grow
Mhm.
as a young man or young woman. So they listen to you, they're driven, and it's good to see. I love cross country particularly because you warm up together, you do the race together, and then you cool down together, and then you kind of go eat or dine afterward and things like that. And then now I've been volunteer coach for track and field also. So it's a lot of fun to be on the other side, but at the same time, you want to be able to, help them, mentor them, as Coach Bob Lawson has done for me since like 1994 until I retired in 2017. So it's fun to be on the other side to give back as much as you can to, for the people, whether you run a mile, 5K, 10K, marathon, a half marathon, whatever that you have the desire to do. That's easy part for me coaching because I can't get somebody out of the couch and try to motivate them. But once I see them on the roads or moving, I love helping them out get the best out of themselves.
Oh, that's amazing. Meb, talking about daughters, and your daughter celebrated a big birthday recently, right?
Yeah, Fiore just turned 18, who I've been coaching her, and Sarah just also March birthdays is big. Sarah
Yep.
just turned 20, and then Johanna, the youngest, just turned 16. So they're every 2 years. We're in the even years now. But
Wow.
yeah, they're great. Sarah's in college, second year in college. Fiore is trying to decide where to attend for college, and then Johanna is finishing up her sophomore year. So it's been fun to be able to spend some time going to soccer matches as well for Johanna, and high school matches are over, but club is what's on right now, and I love
Yeah.
having them outdoors and be part of the sport.
I
Yeah.
I love seeing you coaching high school runners, Mab, because it
Uh,
reminds me of your story, right? And I'll never forget hearing for the first time the story of how you became this world-class runner, right? Your first ever time in school, maybe it was middle school at that point, running a mile, right? And you ran so fast, the coach or the PE teacher looked at you and said, "You're gonna be in the Olympics someday," right? I mean, that to see you on the other side of that is great, and it must be full circle for you.
It is definitely for circle. I mean, to see in seventh grade PE class where my God-given talent was. And then even when I was in eighth grade, I talk about my book Run to Overcome. I'm behind a tree, kind of like where my brothers will run. It's like, maybe one day I'll make the cross country team. You have this vision. And that's what, this coaching is about. And then Coach Ramos, obviously, when I was in high school, he embraced me to that. And just to 2 mile was too long, 3 mile was too long. But the beauty of running is the progression that you make, the transformation that you make yourself, saying, hey, I can't go about around the block, or I can't run a mile. I had a kid that ran like 6, 7 minute PRs in the 5K, and that's the beauty of running. You help them, they come to practice, stay consistent, show them the drills, show them the intervals, teach them what the intervals are, teach them what the tempo runs are, even though in high school doing the long runs, but recovery runs, and kind of the importance of being healthy year round, and not only just make it a habit, lifestyle for that, instead of just say, hey, don't say I can't, just be able to just make progress. If you make the progress, you're going to get to that finish line to the best that you can. And then you set a new goal, and then a new goal. And then like I was, I just wanted to make a cross country team. And then I want to be the best guy on my high school team, and then eventually qualify for state, and then try to make the NCAAs, things like that. So as long as you write down your goals, they become very vivid, and you have a purpose and driven to achieve what is set in front of you.
Wow. I love it. Meb, every time we speak to you, I feel so inspired, and I feel like I need to be doing so much more, because you are just a human. Between you and Howie, every time I hear about you, you're just both giving and giving and giving and inspiring people. And it's just so wonderful. And I love that you are still such an avid runner as well. Actually running yourself and getting out there, running with people. And I'm sure you're bringing more joy than you even know to everybody's lives on a daily basis. So it's just so lovely. So lovely to have you here chatting with us.
Meb, great to see you, and always brings me back to the early days of Set the Pace. We had a lot of fun doing those early shows, Meb, and can you believe we're still doing this all this time later? They let me keep doing this thing.
No, Bex and Rob, you guys have been doing an amazing job. This is just fun to be able to help others get tips or advice or just stories. Everybody has a story to tell, and as long as you are willing to share it, it's the most important thing. As New Yorker Runners Mission is inspire people through sport of running. Then running is something, but the camaraderie, the friendship, the other thing that gone beyond the finish line is such an important thing. And Bex, I remember doing your class with Peloton with you and in New York. That was such a fun moment, and be able to share those with your class. It was amazing. People still tell me, hey, we should hear about the Set the Pace podcast, or we saw you doing the train with Bex. I'm going to go out and get it done. So you hear those stories, and it's fascinating, and a way to just be more togetherness. And but injuries are part of sport. I got injured a little bit. I guess I know you didn't ask me about this, but I have meniscus tear. I figured out it when I was in New York with Coach Andy Rosen. And also my running, my mileage has not been as I would like to have been, but it's all about overcoming situations, overcoming obstacles. And I haven't had the surgery yet. I went to, thanks to my wife Erdanos, I went to the physical therapy to make that happen, and making a lot of progress. But the mileage is not where it used to be, but running is therapy. So whether I do my elliptical and coaching kind of helped me kind of bridge that gap as well.
It's amazing when you're dealing with an injury and the mileage goes down, and I'm dealing with that too right now. Like the difference that's still going on and running like 5K can still make, in your day, in your outlook, in your mood, how you feel. Like it's huge for me. And so it's almost like when the mileage goes down, the impact that each mile can make goes up, because now I don't need to run 10 to feel like, wow, I really did something. Like now running 3, and I feel like, okay, I really ran, and I really get that positive kind of feedback from a shorter run that I used to need a 10 or 15 miler to get.
Absolutely. I think is just going 1 mile, just been outdoors, just bring some sunlight and smile to your face. So, and you don't take things for granted anymore, because when you miss it, when you are forced injury, you are always grateful to just be injury free and running. And for me, that was a transformation moment for me, especially after my pelvic stretch fracture in 2008, 2007, in November, before the Beijing Olympics. I said, you know what? I will never take anything for granted anymore, because I was on my knees and elbows moving just to go to one place that have no room or to the bathroom. So and then when you make a comeback, it's not, if anybody says you guarantee to win New York City Marathon like I did, I would do it in a heartbeat. But there's no guarantee in life. You just got to do what I could do today, what I could do next week, what I could do next month. And then 1 mile becomes 5K, becomes 10K. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm running free. I want to go to half marathon, or you set a new goal. So those are the moments. But yes, you don't have to like we used to do 50-mile, 20-mile and things like that. But at the same time, you just have greater appreciation when you coming back from an injury.
Yeah.
Meb, great to see you. Great to catch up. Glad things are going well. For folks who want to be coached by Meb Keflezighi, what's the best way to do it?
They can go to marathonmed.com. There's a link for Run Dot, and you can reach out to me. I'd love to get the support and be able to help people accomplish their own goals.
I love it. I love
We
it.
love
Meb,
it.
great to see you, my friend.
All right. Thanks so much.
Bye, Meb.
And that does it for another episode of Set the Pace. So look out for our next episode, which will be Saturday, April 18th. Meb will join us as we take you behind the scenes at the New Balance Relay Marathon, which is the unofficial kickoff to the 130th Boston Marathon presented by Bank of America. This is a fun event. Teams run the marathon distance on an indoor track, New Balance's track out in Newton, 211 laps. And if they're not running, they get to hang out together in the infield. There's food, there's music, there's cheering. It's a great event. I actually ran this last year, Bex. I was the first mile, I think one other mile for our Roadrunners team, and it was a really good time. So we'll be in the infield talking to runners while the race is going on, and it'll really give
fun.
listeners a chance to feel like they're behind the scenes at Boston Marathon weekend. So looking forward to that. It'll be a fun episode.
Absolutely. Cannot wait to hear that one.
Yeah. Well, you're going to be there, right? So hopefully you'll hear it.
Oh, yeah.
live
I
and
mean,
in
I'll
the
be in
flesh.
Boston. Yeah.
Good.
That's
So,
true. I always
yeah.
like to hear it afterwards, though. It seems like it's
Sometimes I
more
do.
like, yeah, it's more cohesive for them being in it in the moment where you're like, wow, this is just like a community event.
It's true. It's true. So we can't wait to see everybody in
We
Boston.
don't.
And then on April 23rd, we're going to have NYRR Chief Event Production Officer and Race Director, Ted Metellus. He'll join us to give us his annual everything you need to know about the RBC Brooklyn Half, which is coming right at us. Can't wait for that. Always one of the best events on the New York Roadrunners
So much
calendar. Absolutely. If you're not subscribed already, make sure you do it now so you don't miss an episode. Again, we want to thank our friend Meb Keflezighi for joining us. And again, we want to hear from you folks, so make sure you leave comments, your thoughts on future episodes, and we will see you all on April 18th in Boston. Great to see you, Bex. Thanks a lot. Enjoy the miles. We'll see you next time.